Yes, no. There it is. Unbelievable. All right. So I basically went out a minute and 45 seconds and said basically nothing. How about now? Thank you. Morning, David. Yeah, it's a Monday. Okay. So, hi again. You know what? Tell you what. Why don't we just go ahead and do this? How about this? Let's just go ahead and start it up all over again. How about now? Unbelievable. But no, it's a Monday. Um, you think, and this is not opening kickoff yet. Opening kickoff is one of those questions that is a burning question for a lot of us. Yeah, no doubt. David, case of the Mondays. All right. So I'm not here for 5 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and came back Sunday. Left actually Tuesday after the show and spent time down in Macon for the basketball championships. And it was uh, days were long, obviously, and 17 championships in 4 days. And we got to catch up with all of you folks on the morning show, and it was always fun to do that. And so you drive back here, you drive back with the barbecue, you lock everything in, everything's plugged in, you think it's plugged in, and everything's back to normal. No, as evidenced by me driving David crazy because I didn't have the audio plugged in, or at least the right setting anyway. So, okay, so here's the week. We'll try it again. Uh, Today is normal. Tomorrow is normal. After the show tomorrow, we drive down to the Pinelands for our first set of games of the week. It is Appling County and Jeff Davis. It'll be fun to be down there. And for those of you that watch us on the American football side, on Football Fridays on GPB, we were able to do a story with Jeff Davis because Hurricane Helene, when she came ashore, she went right through Jeff Davis County and that particular section of Georgia. And the head football coach down there, the American football coach, Lance Helton, is a friend of mine. And they were determined to make sure that they were going to play football when only 30% of the county had power. Roads were still blocked off. Players were getting in golf carts and John Deere's, ATVs, trying to get food to the rest of the county. And it was a really cool story for all of the, for all the American football fans about perseverance and being there for one another. And so now we get the opportunity to go down and check in on a soccer program with Coach Lawson that is on the build. And they've made it to the quarters last year. And it's been fun to see that program grow. And so this will be our first time to see them in person. And they're going up against an area rival in Appling County. And so that's going to be a fun atmosphere, anticipating a big crowd coming over from Baxley, being there from Hazelhurst. And so that's Tuesday. Thursday, it is Southern Crescent, and it is Eagles Landing hosting Hampton. And then on Friday, it is GAC at Johnson Gainesville. So that's the rundown of the week when it comes to high school soccer presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Today, obviously, we'll go back over Atlanta United. We'll go back over the twos, go back over the news of the AM. Bart's going to join us at 10, and we'll discuss some things involving U.S. soccer on the women's side, U.S. soccer on the men's side, and there are some cards and things that we need to get into from the weekend. So Bart will join us at 10 o'clock to discuss national team stuff and some reffing down here, and we'll get into that to kick off the week. Now, also, we'll get into all the promos and everything, but the opening kickoff is brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. So now here is going to be the question of the day. Here's the question of the day, and this is vitally important. This is vitally important when it comes to all of the questions that we have when it comes to opening kickoff. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. I'll import the QR code at some point when the equipment works, or at least when I can do it and I don't damage the equipment. How about that? So QR code is available. Go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com on social media. So what opening kickoff is you can go and start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget to use the code Soccer Down Here 15. You get 15% off your purchase on the way out the door. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it into youth games, youth initiatives from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay, so once again, we'll talk Atlanta United. We'll talk the twos. We'll talk Major League Soccer. We'll talk whatever's on your mind. So lay it all out there. We'll get through it. And hour number one, Bart's going to join us. We're going to talk national team. There's some things that there's some players that we need to discuss involving men's and women's side. And then we'll get into a couple of reffing moments. And there's something that I wanted to discuss with him involving stars and star players and things like that. So, okay. On the way home from championships, I traditionally, and literally with us here in SDH, this is one of those topics that literally has divided us into about 19 different directions. Sophia thinks one way, Maddie thinks another way, Jarrett thinks another way, Nick thinks another way, I think another way. Literally, you could turn to any of us. You could turn to Jason, Jarrett, me, Nick, Maddie, Sophia, and you'll come up with 9 different answers. So having all of this stuff going around in a conversation, literally, that was firing us from pillar to post and completely and totally just dividing us all over the place. When I come home from championships, I don't know how many of you follow me on social media, on all of them, like on Instagram and on Facebook and 280 character app and whatever. I always stop at Waffle House. And I always get relatively the same order. It is always grilled cheese wheat on 2, triple order hash browns. And when I get the hash browns, depending on how hungry I am, considering usually that week I don't eat because I can't. Because if I did, then it would slow me down and there's a whole lot of things in play. So we get into this discussion and literally it is like it is Hatfields and McCoys and warring factions and the whole thing. So if I want to go and get what I want from Waffle House, like I said, traditionally grilled cheese wheat on 2, triple order hash browns. If I want to finish the plate, then I get the hash browns plain, but I get a triple order. If I don't want the grilled cheese sandwiches, then what I do is I will get triple order hash browns, no sandwiches, triple order hash browns, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, and topped. The mere fact that I apparently will get an order of hash browns plain to go with whatever else is on the plate, and in my case, it's the grilled cheese sandwiches, has set off a firestorm inside of SDH. Literally, it has set off a firestorm of what are you doing? What are you thinking? Oh my God, you've lost your mind. I'm fairly certain that at the very least, Sophia is in my camp. That she has no issue with ordering just straight hash browns. And I know that I have my own way of liking them and all that kind of stuff. They've got to be the right constitution. You can't burn them, that kind of a thing. So I am apparently an outcast here, and maybe Sophia is too, for liking just the plain Waffle House hash browns to go with the rest of a meal. Because the one thing you don't want is if you get the order of hash browns with everything on them and you don't finish it, it really does. I mean, the constitution of the hash browns themselves turns questionable. And unless you really do put it in the fridge and you treat it well, and you microwave it properly, and there's a lot of care on day number 2, I'm not really a day 2 hash browns person. So I want to finish the plate. That's why it is a plain order of hash browns. Yes, it's a triple, but it's still a plain order. I can finish the plain order of hash browns and get the grilled cheese sandwiches, and I'm good. The plate's done, no waste, nothing. So I go at it one of two ways. After the championships, traditionally, it's my first real substantive meal the entire time. And so it ends up being the grilled cheese sandwiches and plain order hash browns. But apparently, I've lost my mind, according to the rest of the folks here at SDH. So, my question for all of you: have I lost my mind by just going plain hash browns if I have, and a large order of plain hash browns, if I have other things there on the plate with it? Or should I just go ahead, bite the bullet, take the hash browns as I want them with other things there, and either not order the sandwich or just go ahead and completely and order up, 7 pounds of food and go ahead and finish it, and then whatever happens, happens. When you go to Waffle House, what do you do? So, as a rule, now this week, when others join, we will continue this discussion. But I wanted to know if I was, out of my mind by doing what it was that I do. So I didn't know. I didn't know if I was, like I said, if Sophia and I were in a particular camp, I didn't know if we were outcasts, if we were just completely and totally just foreign to the rest of you. Like I said, I just wanted to know if I was completely and totally foreign to the rest of you by doing that kind of a thing. So that is the question that comes from opening kickoff. Am I weird? Well, outside of normal circumstances. When it comes to Waffle House, am I weird? What do you do when it comes to your trips to Waffle House? And are we all on the same page? Or, is Nelson out on the limb yet again? And, there's got to be stuff, man. So that's the deal. So, Michael, like I said, Michael and I have conversations like this all the time when we interact and we see each other's dogs and such. Michael's like, "Do you Waffle House your way?" Oh, I'm not changing. Trust me, I'm not changing my way when it comes to Waffle House. I just didn't know if I was alone in this. That was my big thing. I just didn't know if I was alone in the process of, if it's triple order, then allotting for the triple order, having more food with it, or if I didn't want more food, then doing all of the bells and whistles. So that was the big thing. But so, like I said, that's opening kickoff. It was a question that I had, and I put it to the floor. I put it to you. Have I lost my mind? Am I doing my thing? No, I'm not changing, but I just wanted to know. I didn't know if I was alone in this or not. So that was the big thing. Like I said, I think Sophia and I are in one camp. I think Maddie might not be far behind. See, I mean, Sophia does ketchup, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to go there. If it is cooked properly, then what they do on the grill is fine. I don't necessarily need ketchup on my hash browns. If I'm going to get ketchup on my hash browns, that's when I go ahead and get the ham and the cheese and the chili and all that kind of stuff. I don't need ketchup. Give me those other things. So there we go. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code's out there somewhere in the ether. But don't forget, when you go to Kickoff Coffee, you can start the day there. Use the code SOCCERDOWNHERE15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it, youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So there you go. But no, Michael, I have no plans on changing. But seriously, if you ask like Jason and Jarrett and compare me to them, you will get the rolling of the eyes like you will never believe from Jason and Jarrett and everybody else. So, like I said, I'm not changing. I'm just saying that's just how I do it, and I didn't know if I was alone. So there we go. All right. Like I said, this morning it is. Let me know. That's what Reaction Mondays are for. Let me know what's going on in your mind after match week 3, goalless draw. with Atlanta United and Red Bulls. And, after, and we'll go through the numbers and we'll go through what Ronnie Dyla said after the match. Miguel Almiron in the locker room said that he was not concerned. It's only match day three. And, everyone is still trying to become acquainted with one another in game state, which is different than, and period, close bracket. And, game state being different from, exhibition season and, doing drills and all those kinds of things. So Miguel Almiron not worried. Ronnie Dyla not worried. We'll get into the numbers and we'll go through Coach Dyla's quotes on the other side here in hour number one. But let me know what's going on your mind after the goalless draw, getting into the numbers for this particular match and knowing once again that it was two separate 45s. And it's something that Atlanta United has to address when it comes to offense. Defense, clamped down pretty much on Red Bulls in the entirety of the 90 minutes. When you look at the back line, and we'll build from 90 minutes to go back to the first 45 where Atlanta United had their chances, didn't score, and then didn't produce any chances. Or one chance, I think, one shot on net in the second 45. So looking at the numbers across the board, the back line, here was the lineup as it started. It was starting once again, Pedro Amador, Brad Gazan in net. Your back line left to right, Amador, Derek Williams, Steon Gregerson, Matthew Edwards. Matthew Edwards continuing to become acclimated to Major League Soccer, not flinching. We'll go over Matt's numbers. The two holding, it was Tristan Muyumba getting the start, and Ronnie Dyla said that he was impressed with Muyumba in his start. Obviously, not 90 minutes ready, 90 minutes fit, or what have you. Seemed to taper off over time, and then that was when the substitution happened. Bart Sleesh was the other six that was back there. Then once again, your front four, Latelat, Miggy, Miranchuk, Saba. On the day, Brad punched a 6.9. The back line was full of sevens, according to our friends at SofaScore. Amador is 7-1. Derek is 7-1. Steon is 7-3. Matt is 7-3. Tristan Muyumba is 7-3. Bart Sleesh is 6.6, which I find somewhat confusing. Miggy is 6.8. Saba is 6.7. Latelat is 6.2. Of course, the yellow card playing into that. And then Miranchuk is 7.4. The statistics themselves, well, actually, let's go over the starting lineup for the 3-4-1-2-ish, at least until the ball is kicked for Red Bulls. Coronel in net, Isla, Sean, and Dylan Nealis at the back, causing the perfunctory amount of trouble that they like to. Valencia, Edelman, Stroud, and Genjar. Emil Forsberg is the fulcrum, as we talked about. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting and Hall up top. Your Julian Hall were your top two, your front two in their particular lineup. So subs, Noah Cobb for Matt Edwards for the final 20. Edwin Mosqueda for Latelat in the final 20. Cleek for Muyumba in the final 15. Togashi in for Saba in the final 15. And Shande a cameo for Miggy for the final handful of minutes. So getting into the stats, and obviously we'll take it 45 at a time and we'll work our way through it. So first half, possession once again, Atlanta basically told Red Bulls, hey, you can have it. 58% possession for Red Bulls, and we all know that Red Bulls think that the ball has cooties anyway. And it was them at 58% in the first 45 minutes. XG, if you believe in XG, and by the way, I know we traditionally have Abe Gordon in this particular slot. He's spending time with family. He'll be back next week. So XG 1.21 and 0.1. The AG, meaning actual goals, I guess, if you want to look at it in the Abe factor, it was 0 for both. 5 big chances for Atlanta United in the first 45 minutes. None for Red Bulls. 9 total shots in the first 45 minutes for Atlanta United. 2 for Red Bulls. 6 saves for Carlos Coronel. And there was that one stretch where it seemed like Coronel was having to basically just stand and defend. That was that one stretch where he basically had to do that. 3 corners for Atlanta United and none for Red Bulls in the first 45. Because the Red Bulls had more possession, they had about 100 more passes in the first 45 minutes. 10 tackles to 8 for Atlanta United, 7 free kicks to 3 for Red Bulls, 2 yellows and for Atlanta United, and 1 for Red Bulls. First 45 once again, total shots 9-2, 6 on target to none, which meant 2 off target and a block. Shots inside the 18 for Atlanta United, 7 in the first 45 minutes compared to 2, which meant that 2 were outside the 18. In the attack, 1 foul in the final third for benefiting Red Bulls, and accurate passes. Obviously, Atlanta United had more of they had 198. They had less, about 100 less than Red Bulls in the first 45. 15 throw-ins to 2. That is a stat that I did not know from the first 45 minutes, but pressure will give that to you. And it was 60-40 in the duels. Dispossessed, 10 dispossessions in the first 45 minutes. 6 of those happened to Red Bulls. Atlanta United winning 14 of 31 ground duels and 2 of 10 in the air. But by the time it was over, the numbers had kind of switched back where Atlanta United, I think, won 20 of 43 duels on the day. So just under 50%. Coming back from those numbers in the air from the first 45 minutes. And then it was 1 for 5, winning on the dribble, and 2 for 6 for Red Bulls. Defending, 70% of the tackles that Atlanta United had in the first 45, they did complete 5 out of 8 on average for Red Bulls at 63%. 10 total tackles compared to 8. 8 interceptions for Red Bulls in passing compared to 3. Recoveries about the same. 14 clearances for Red Bulls in the first 45 minutes compared to 5 for Atlanta United. Then keeping, we got into those numbers involving Brad and Carlos Coronel. Then obviously in the second half, things flip, and Red Bull's still not getting anything going offensively. So you can mention what's going on with the defense for Atlanta United. Like I said, we'll get into the numbers for the back four in just a second. 60-40 in possession once again. Red Bulls, hey, you got it, you keep it, you start things off. Then it was not really a whole lot of expected goals on either side. And obviously the AG was 0 there as well. 1 big chance in the second half, and that was Red Bulls. 5 total shots for Red Bulls in the second half compared to 1 for Atlanta United. 2 corner kicks each side. More passes by Red Bulls and Atlanta United once again. Percentages in possession will do that. 7 free kicks compared to 3, and the yellow cards evened out at 2-2. Total shots once again, 5-1 Red Bulls, second 45. 1 of them hit the woodwork. 3 shots off target, 1 for Atlanta United. 2 blocks for Red Bull. Shots inside the 18, 4-1. Shots outside the 18, 1-0. Then fouled in the final third. 3 more happening to Red Bulls, 4 total on the day. 1 big chance missed for Red Bulls. That was the one off the post. 2 offsides on each. Then it was final third entries, 34 for the Red Bulls, 23 for Atlanta United. Long balls on the in the second half, 10-2 for Atlanta United over Red Bulls, and it was 2 crosses to 1 being completed there as well. Atlanta United winning 40% of the ground duels in the second half. Aerial duels, they won 7 of 11. That's where the numbers started to flip that I was talking about. Winning on the dribble, 5 of 12 compared to only once for Red Bulls in the second half. Defending 10 total tackles for Red Bulls, defending against Atlanta. Atlanta United, 4 tackles in the second 45. 6 interceptions for Atlanta United compared to 2. Recoveries about even. Clearances, 12 for Red Bulls in the second 45. Again, then putting up a double-digit number because they had to. 5 clearances for Atlanta United and 5 goal kicks for Brad in the second 45. So that's the breakdown, 45 minutes apiece for the matchup with Atlanta United and Red Bulls. Obviously, goalless draw at the end. Ronnie Deila was asked after the match if there's something wrong with the attack. And here's what he said, quote, "That's never been the problem. Problem is that today we had 2 really good chances in the first half. I think we played unbelievably well in the first half hour. Really enjoyed myself watching that. It's just I just like the level. It's really high, but that next 60 minutes, maybe I will say 45 again, it's not good enough. That's how it is. We lose the ball all over the place, so we can talk about scoring goals. We had chances, couldn't put them in the net. That'll come. We have players that can score. We need to play as a team the same way we did in the first half hour, because then we switch the play over and over again, double up on the side, get crosses in, suddenly stop doing it. We stopped and made the play difficult. We played straight balls, And you know that against Red Bulls, if we do that, that you get counterattacks instead. So I have to look at myself, first of all, take responsibility for that. But I don't think about scoring goals. I think about how we produce and how we play as a team. And the first half hour shows where we can be. And now it's about how we can get those periods longer, because then I don't think it's easy to handle us. And with the talent that is here for Atlanta United, I would agree with Ronnie Dylan there. Getting that period longer than 30, getting that period longer than 45, getting it into the second half, because he doesn't think it's easy to handle Atlanta United once you get those periods longer and longer and longer. And I would agree with him there. Considering the firepower that is here, and once again, as I said, Miguel Almiron not concerned. Once again, 3 matches in, still trying to learn everybody in game state versus preseason. Then he was also asked if this match was more fun to watch than the one against Charlotte. He said it was a good question. I bet 3 second halves aren't fun to watch, but they are in different ways. Because in the first game, we were all over the place and we won. So we didn't have control, but we did get it in the end, conceded too many chances. So that was Montreal. Second half against Charlotte, we didn't stand up. We didn't produce anything, and today was a little bit similar, I think, but we didn't give away anything. But again, we've been working together for 7 weeks. You learn from experiences. You notice how we can lift everybody, ourselves in the group and in the club, to put the standards that we need to do to be consistent in what we do, and that's the aim for me and for everybody, because they put effort. It's just about making the right decisions together as a team and the difference periods and again. And so Miggy, after the match, he goes, in 3 matches, we've been playing great first halves. I think we have to improve a lot to be more consistent on a personal level. I also have to work to be able to help the team. Ronnie Dyla did mention in discussing Miguel Almiron, he was wondering, last time that Miguel Almiron, frankly, had played 90 minutes in a match. So what we will do is we will go to our friendly friend. What is a friend unfriendly? We will go and catch up with our friends at Transfermarkt, and we'll break that down. So when was the last time that Miguel Almiron played 90 minutes in a match? He played 87. You're getting there to that point. But technically, you sit there and you go 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. Okay, fine. So, even better. So I can't even. Our friends from Transfermarkt apparently are stumbling over themselves this morning. So everybody's got a case of the Monday. So we'll put a bookmark in Miggy in 90 minutes. But anyway, so Ronnie Dyla had made the thought after the match. It's like, when was the last time that Miguel Almiron had actually played 90 minutes in a match? So we'll, at some point, when Transfermarkt agrees to wake up for the morning, then we will get that answer for you. As Miguel continues to, continues to get acclimated when it comes to getting back and being, a man, not the man, but a man. That is a part of this whole thing. Yep, ain't nothing happening with Transfermarkt right now. Okay, so we'll get into Miguel in 90 minutes in a bit. Miggy says, I think we have a great group. It's the first 3 games. Now we have to think about the game against Miami, and that's also an important game. Yes, it is. On how much of that is the players learning how to play with each other. Miggy says, I think that's normal that these things happen in soccer when we're still getting to know each other. We have to keep working. As I said, we have great players. We're going to improve game by game. He was asked about Coach Dyla's comments about the team playing too vertically instead of playing shorter passes. Miggy said, I think we have to improve that. In the first half, we started to open up the game on the outside, had a lot of chances. Second half, we started to play up the middle. Things got complicated, but those are things we have to improve if we want to achieve big things. And then Ronnie Dyla, in his post-match, commented the team needs someone who's able to calm the team down on the field, and if he could be that person, meaning Miggy. Miggy says, yes, I think we try to do all of that, but sometimes things happen during the games. One gets anxious to win the game. Those are details we have to improve, as the coach says. Derek Williams on team chemistry. Derek says, I've only played 2 or 3 games with Ronnie, still trying to understand what he wants. So I'm sure the attackers are thinking the same. Alexi, Miggy, and the best teams in this league that you see, their players are playing with each other a lot. You get that chemistry. I do think that could be a factor. But look, we got some positives tonight. Clean sheet to build on. First half, we played some good stuff. I think it was the best we played in a long time since I've been here. Even last season, I think that first half was really good. So there's definitely some positives. Michael, to your point about getting points at home because of this slanted start to a lot of home matches, Derek Williams was asked if he was concerned. Derek says, not concerning, it was frustrating. But I think the manner we did it first half, like you said, 0 shots on goal, pretty dominating, I think. It's just frustrating not to get that goal. We need to make the most of these home games because we know how important they are. Hopefully we can start clicking, start getting some goals, and then just getting the feel-good factor, because at the moment it just feels like we need that one goal. I think we're going to be good. So that's, when computers behave, let's put it that way. So when computers behave, tomorrow we will circle back and we'll listen to more of the Ronnie Dyla press conference, deeper than what we talked about this morning. But those are just the early thoughts from Ronnie Dyla and from Derek Williams and from Miguel Almiron after the match. I wanted to get into the lineups and the numbers. We mentioned the back line and the defense that was there. And sometimes, you're looking at teams 3 matches in or 3 games in, depending on what sport you're looking at. Sometimes defense is there before the offense is. So out of the blocks, the return of Pedro Amador. Amador got a 7.1, played the full 90. 1 clearance, 2 picks, a tackle, 1 a duel, 54 touches, 91% passing on 54 touches, 32 of 35. 1 long ball on the day. So welcome back, Pedro Amador. Derek Williams, the identical 7.1 according to SofaScore. Like I said, I'd love to know their dynamic and how they break things out. Two clearances, 1 block, 2 picks, 1 duel won, 56 touches, 81% passing, 39 of 48. 3 long balls on the day, 1 shot off target, and 1 big chance missed. Stian Gregerson. So the left-hand side got 2 7.1s. The right-hand side got 2 7.3s. Stian Gregerson on the day played the full 90, 2 clearances, a block, 2 picks, and a tackle. So 4 separate categories. Stian Gregerson ends up with numbers. 6 of 11 on duels, 4 of 7 on the ground, 2 of 4 in the air. Fouls, he was fouled twice. 53 touches, 84% passing. So your 2 center backs passed north of 80%. 36 of 43. 2 long balls, 1 shot off target, and 1 successful attempt on the dribble. Matt Edwards, who continues to impress, had a 7.3 and a yellow card. So of the 4 at the back, pulled the yellow card away from Matt Edwards. Safe to say that Matt Edwards was the highest rated individual by SofaScore for the back 4. So Matt Edwards continuing to get into rhythm when it comes to being right back as Brooks Lennon continues to come back to full song. Matt Edwards on the day, 68 minutes once again before Noah Cobb came in. 1 ground duel won, fouled once, 55 touches, 31 of 37 passing, 84%. So literally now your back 4 passed north of 80% on their touches. 2 key passes, 1 cross, 1 long ball, 2 big chances created, 1 shot on target, and a big chance missed for Matt Edwards. Tristan Muyumba, once again, a 7.3 in his start, 76 minutes, 57 touches, 91% passing for Muyumba at 39 of 43. 2 key passes, 2 long balls. He was 2 for 2. 5 of 8 winning duels on the ground. 0 for 1 in the air, understandable. I don't know who it was against, but nevertheless. Fouled once, 2 picks, 4 tackles, and 1 dribble passed. So Tristan Muyumba having a bunch of different categories. Bart Sleesh, defensively, 90 minutes. I'd love to know how many miles Bart runs. Still in the neighborhood of 8, I think, 7 to 8 per match. It's insane. 67 touches, 88% passing, 50 of 57. 2 long balls, 1 dribble successful, 6 of 15 on duels, 2 of 8 in the ground, 4 of 7 in the air. Fouled once, 2 clearances, 1 interception. So that's your back 6. Those are the 6 that are the 4 your 4 your 4 at the back, and then the 2 6s in front. So that's the numbers that you have defensively with this group going up against Red Bulls. As we get later in the week, we'll try and track down. Got a couple names in mind to try and figure out who to talk to about Messi and friends when they come to town. A couple of things to think about where Messi and friends are. The matchup with Charlotte was an adventure for Charlotte yesterday for the wrong reasons. Oscar Ustari gets a dog so red, and we'll get into that with Bart. And so that means that we could see our friend Rocco Rios Novo come the weekend on Sunday Night Soccer. Sound your trumpets. Do not know if Messi and friends are going to challenge the red card for Ustari or if they're just going to let it sit. Drake Calendar's still not ready to come back yet. Calendar was wearing he's wearing a baseball cap on the sideline. So it's Ustari and Rocco Rios Novo until further notice. Rocco Rios Novo came in for Ustari. They had to sacrifice Benja Kremoski. And so we'll get into Messi and friends as the week goes, but the big storyline is Charlotte with a man advantage couldn't do anything against Messi and friends. And it was the textbook Messi and friends breakdown of the whole thing. They get a lead. Then what they try to do is they try to sit there and figure out what they can get away with and what they can't with the man in the middle, which was Guido Gonzalez Jr. And Messi and friends got very, very physical, very, very chippy. Wilfred Zaha, and this is another point that I wanted to get into with Bart coming up at the top of the hour, was knocked down a lot. And then when he was knocked down a lot, started getting some whistles, tried to draw some yellows, didn't get the yellows. Except I think it was one instance where there was contact. I think it was involving Wilf Zaha. But what you see from Messi and friends is when they get a lead, they're going to turn the match very, very clunky. Then literally they tried to out-physical Charlotte. They were successful in it. Charlotte really didn't have a whole lot of ideas. And so because Charlotte was basically red route 1, it's like up the left-hand side, okay, fine. Right-hand side, okay, fine. It's straight lines. So when you see somebody coming at you at a straight line, you're just going to stand there. You're going to stand still. Charlotte really didn't have a whole lot of ideas. Except, hey, get it to Wilf and see what he can do. That didn't go so well. Miami and Messi and friends in their defense just pushed Charlotte around, pushed them down, knocked them down, tried to be very physical. And as long as they weren't getting any whistles and called for fouls, then they were going to keep doing it. So in a nutshell, Messi and friends get a lead. They try to lock it down. They try to push you around. They try to frustrate you. And they even did so a man down against Charlotte. If I was a Charlotte fan, I'd be concerned that you couldn't find a way around a 10-man Messi and friends squad with Rocco Rios Novo in net. But Rocco Rios Novo, it's going to be a bit of a homecoming for him. Like I said, unless that red is overturned from Oscar Ustari, all indications are that Rocco was going to get the start Sunday night against Atlanta United. So, it was. I think Charlotte got exposed a little bit in Sunday Night Soccer down in Fort Lauderdale. So we'll keep an eye on. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go and see if our friends at Pro and the league will try and overturn something. Will they, or will they not? They shouldn't. We'll see. I don't think they will. But we'll find out if they are, in fact, going to, like I said, I don't think they should overturn the dog so with Ustadi. So we will see what it looks like. But it really is looking like it's going to be an opportunity for Rocco Rios Novo to be in net come the weekend. So, all right. So let's take a peek now that apparently our friends at SofaScore have awakened. No, I don't want that. All right. So 24-25, 150 minutes. I need the detailed breakdown. So the last time that Miguel Almiron played 90 minutes, 23 times he was in the squad, 9 appearances in 24-25, once in the FA Cup, once in the Gummy Bear Cup. So, let's see, starts. Starts, we go back to those appearances. Where's my starts? This is the kind of Monday that I'm having here. This is not. So, stats, goals, injury history. It's like I need all seasons. This should not be this hard, people. That's all I want, you know? I'm not asking for much, I don't think. I don't think I'm asking for much. That's what I'm saying. All right, so 2024, it would have been, let's see, going backward. Okay, so he did play in January, 88 minutes against Southampton. So 88 minutes against Southampton, 78 before that, and it was 2 weeks, and then it was a month before playing 73 minutes, 2 weeks, and he played 74. He was on the bench for 5 matches. Then he came in and played 70 in October, started and played 85, started and played 62. So he played 3 in a row in October of 2024, was on the bench for 3. Then he started for 2 in August and September, 89 against Bournemouth, and it was a full match 90 against Spurs. So came in the 88th. Oh, so he came in the 88th minute. My bad. I'm reading this wrong. That's a Monday. That doesn't surprise me. So Miggy's been a late sub. I'm completely and totally flipped. So he's been a late sub for most of his time. So he started October 27, 68 minutes. So literally last time he played 68 minutes was October 27, now that I've got that read correctly. So October 27, last start. So that's 5 months, 4.5 months since he started a match at Newcastle. And then he played 70 minutes there. Most of the time he's been in as a late sub to bring some speed. So late October was the last time that Miggy was there. So keep an eye on that. But like I said, Miggy's trying to get to 90 minutes fit, and Coach Dyla knows that as well. All right, let me say hi to everybody and go through the promos. Bart's going to join us here at 10 o'clock, and we'll find out what else is on your mind. All right. Morning, Gilberto, who was the first to tell me that I was muted. Morning, David. Yeah, Katie. Yeah. Flipping a switch. That's all it was flipping a switch. Audio, necessary thing. Morning, Alex. Morning, Michael. David, thank you for saying that I was being inclusive. Morning, Harry. Morning, Derek. And let's see. So, morning, Matt. Matt Wagner drifting in this morning. Good to see you after a while. Morning, Emilio. And let's see who else is in on the Twitch pitch this morning. But first and foremost, thanks to all of you for being a part of the SDH family that you are. So thanks. If you're watching on the Twitch pitch, great. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, fantastic. If you're watching us on X, that's fantastic. Don't be a stranger. Be sure to, whatever's on your mind, that's what the Twitch pitch is for. So anything on your mind, Harry contributes through YouTube. A lot of folks can only watch through YouTube because we're actually being smuggled into their viewing habits while they're working. And so however you want to contribute is fine. I'm looking forward to it. And looking forward to all the comments all season long. But it's good to see some new faces in here, and good to see that you all, as intrepid producers, are paying better attention to the product than I am on a Monday morning. Okay. Let's roll through the promos really quickly before Bart joins us here. Once again, remember, Grady Baby. Wow, my mouth isn't even working either. Grady Baby Co. You can get the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta sweatshirt, T-shirt, all the things, and you can pick those up. And what you do when you get that, it's either in the red or the black, gold lettering. Soccer is just better in Atlanta. And when you help that out, when you go to Grady Baby Co., you help out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools. Very, very cool stuff. The boss has already hijacked the black sweatshirt. She wears it around the house. Then, because she can't wear red. Michael Head knows what I'm talking about. So you can do that. You can go to soccerdownhere.net. You can get the gear through our, it's not Teespring, I don't think, but our store. You can get some SDH gear there with the new logo and everything. You can also get some old Attack and Ruckus redos that Jason has come up with. What you can do also help out the Marshall Islands. Now that I'm sitting here, I can actually tap on the door. Once again, you get the bucket hats, you get the jerseys, you get all the things involving Marshall Islands. You pay in England, but if you want a scarf, you get it shipped from me. That's how this goes. You get it shipped from me, shipped from the office here. If it's any place else, anything else, it's coming from London, England. Anything else, Marshall Islands, coming from Matt Webb and Lloyd Hours in England. Scarf coming from me. So there you go. No, I didn't, Abby. I did not get a ghost message. I didn't get a ghost message. Tried to get on Twitch. I didn't. I don't think I did. Morning. So no, I didn't get one when I tried to come on. So I didn't see one because I look at it as me on the web, and I look at it as host ideas here in front of me. So I didn't get a ghost message on the me side when the Twitch tried to fire up this morning. So there's Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co., the Marshall Islands Project. You can go to Olive in York, and you can get your first ever SDH jersey, thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente for helping us out there. Kaiser Permanente across the front, Beyond Goals Mentoring on one side, Soccer for Good on the other side, Navy jersey. Abby and I fell down that road. Navy jersey, and you can get it personalized either in white or Carolina blue letters and numerals. And you get to be a part of helping out our Soccer for Good projects when it comes to 2025 and what we're looking to do there as we go forward. So you can get your jersey, you can get your sweatshirts, you can get your T-shirts, you can get all your things. And what you can also do is you can become a fanatico. How do you become a fanatico? Well, I'll tell you. What you can do is when you become a fanatico on the SDH network, you can go to Chant. You eventually go to Chant, and you can go and be a part of everything here. When I remember to, and I need to do this better, you can say hi to everybody in the Chant app, and you can get some, be a part of a great community here. $10 a year. $10 a year to help out our causes and being our Soccer for Good. All those things, and what you can do there is you can once again help out our causes that we have earmarked here in 2025. And so you can be a part of being a fanatico, $10 a year. And let me tell you, all of the different places, just as an idea, you get a lot of discounts from a bunch of different places, and you get exclusive discounts to breweries, pubs, soccer retail stores. Lloyd's Retail is a part of it, and you can get, I think, 25% off select Atlanta United gear if you go to Lloyd's and you are part of the Fanaticos chain. Hotels, comedy theaters get exclusive access to our group on the Chant app, and that's what I was showing you here on the phone to stay better connected to all that we do here at SDH. Now I've got to type this out because I want to make sure that that it's done correctly, because it's a bit of a long read, and I don't want to I don't want to sit there and go, well, here, do this and do this and do this, because if I do, in fact, read it out, I might leave a gap, and you don't want to do that. And I feel like I should probably just have this made as a banner anyway. Of course, I would need to figure out how to make a banner here. So I'm trying to translate quickly. And all right, so I'm almost there. And once again, begging your forbearance and all the things this morning. So, and I'm glad that all of you got to go to went to the unified signing, the unified signing ceremony yesterday. That's very, very cool. So here we go. I've got it figured out. And so here is how you become a fanatico. Disregard the period at the end of the word join. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. No period. So disregard the period. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. And like I said, just to give you an idea of the partners that we have. Brass Tap, Moxie Hotel Midtown, coming closer to our first scheduled third Thursday event on the 20th at Moxie Midtown, where we get to discuss things. Moxie Hotel in Midtown, you get a discount there on hotel food and beverage if you're a Fanatico. It is a Schoolhouse, South Main, Slow Pour, Atlanta Hard Cider, Round Trip, Social Fox, Keys to Flavor Catering, if you need some catering assistance. Fido's Midtown, O'Sullivan's, mention Lloyd's, it's 20% off. Dad's Garage, Battle and Brew, Tires Plus and Alpharetta, Wild Leap Brewing. And if you ever wanted to go to Costa Rica, you ever want to go to Costa Rica, you just want to go see Alajuelense, you want to go see Saprissa, you want to go see Herediano, or you just want to go see Costa Rica. Literally, there is a resort that is in the Fanaticos group that you can get a discount from. Literally, you can go to Chateau Arenal in El Castillo, San Ramon, Costa Rica. Literally, they're in here. So if you want to get, if you want to go to Costa Rica, you can become a Fanatico. You want to go to Chateau Arenal, you can get a discount. So all of that stuff there. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. Morning PV Wolf, by the way. Thanks for coming in here this morning as well. So all the things, all the stuff is happening here at SDH. So once again, keep letting me know what's on your mind after Bart comes in at 10 o'clock or shortly thereafter. And then to wrap up the show this morning, we'll get into your thoughts. Once again, we'll get it out on a Monday. It's what Reaction Mondays are for. And then we can continue to discuss. Like I said, we'll talk twos, Major League Soccer, all the news, all the things, and we'll get you ready for the rest of your day as well. So there is Monday Night Football, by the way, at 3 o'clock, I believe. I think it's 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock, if my memory serves. And that is the last wrap on the weekend schedule. We'll go ahead and go here. All right, so BN en Espanol has the Turkish Super League at 1:30. If you don't have BN or BN en Espanol or any of the BNs, or Nuestra Tele, CDO, For the Fans, TSA, Liga 1 Max, Liga 1 Max Pro, all the things, you can go to Fanatis, fntz.co, Gold TV, and our friend Nino Torres, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps us out, helps Fanatis out, turns you into more of a degenerate that you may already be. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. USA has West Ham and Newcastle at 4. Once again, remember, and that's the other thing. Spring forward, fall back. Getting up at normal hours and you're sitting there and you look outside, it's dark. Other than the fact that it was rainy and nasty this morning. It's awful. Blech. I hate spring forward. Literally, you wake up and it's dark outside. So, West Ham Newcastle's at 4. ESPN Deportes says Espanyol and Girona at 4. Famalicão and Rio Ave at 4:15. On the Portuguese League, and Wanderers and Cerro Largo at 7 from the Uruguayan Primera. That's on Gold TV with our buddy Nino Torres. Universo simulcasting the Prem. Golazo Network at 3:45 has Serie A, Lazio, and Udinese. NBCSports.com has your English Premier League match as well. Paramount Plus has the AFC Champions League Elite. 2 matches available at 2 o'clock, and they're also simulcasting Lazio and Udinese. DAZN USA has the Frauen Bundesliga, Werder Bremen and Hoffenheim. That is at 1 o'clock. So that's your rundown of what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and make sure that you are in the know on a Monday where it's probably still just damn dark. It's just damn dark outside. You know, you wake up and it's just like it's dark. Do not like it. Spring forward to me is green eggs and ham. I do not like it. No chance. David says here's Fanaticos now get 20% off eggs. I was not aware of that one. So that's Derek likes spring forward. I mean, how? 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 Derek loves spring forward. How? I do not understand this. I really don't. So let's see if Bart understands this. Bart, do you, sir, understand the like for spring forward?
Well, as I look out my window and see a gray sky with rain falling down, I don't like it right now. Um, I think most people just don't like the change.
Oh, I
And
mean,
after that, we figure it out.
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's so I mean, it's just ugh. I can't, it's like you get up and it's just flat, blank, and dark outside. And I just can't. Not happening for me. Not happening. Um, all right. So there were a couple things that I wanted to discuss with you this morning.
Oh boy.
And a couple, no, I mean, no, we're in good shape. Uh, one of the things that I wanted to discuss, sir, has to do with national team stuff, and where one national team is going to be losing an individual because she is spending time with family and expanding family. Now you have the
Yes.
possibility on the men's side of having someone back, and I wanted to kind of discuss context of losing one and gaining one and seeing
Yeah.
where things go. So, Sophia Nay Smith uh, is now going to be expanding her family, and so she's going to be taking time off.
Yes.
And mazel tov to the crazy kids first and foremost. But when you do not have her as a part of Triple Espresso, what does that do, if anything, and who would you anticipate stepping in or having the opportunity
Yeah.
to become the appetizer to the double espresso? What else could be served now with double espresso, since triple espresso will not be a thing for any recent period of time?
Well, first off, congrats to the Wilson family. I am very pro star athletes making babies to hopefully create more star athletes. So that's
Yeah,
good job. Let's get an NFL play. We need more NFL slash USWNT players. We've
there
had
you
it on
go.
a couple times, so let's do
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. Making sure
But
making sure that national teams continue to expand.
correct. But I think that in this particular case, it's not as big of a blow because who did we see come back this past window, John? Katerina Macario.
Okay.
And her reemergence plus Mia Fishel is back actually in match day lineups at Chelsea as well. Those two can help replace what we will lose with Soph in that central attacking area. We're still not sure where Mallory Swanson is. We haven't seen her in a good spell, but we have, and that was the biggest learning I think from the She Believes Cup, is we have backups ready to actually provide real depth to the triple espresso headliners. Sitnor was pretty good. I think Yasmin Ryan continues to be a very quiet but very effective attacking piece. She is a great, like, she's the bay leaf you put in your soup and you're like, what does this actually do? And
Ah,
then you realize that, oh, this is actually helping make everything else taste better,
okay.
right? But you don't necessarily taste her when everything is done, or when you're cooking.
Yes.
She's not, but you don't see her or feel her the way that you would, like,
You sit
the
there and
carrots.
you sit there and you're going, I don't know why you put that. I don't know why you
Right,
put that
but
in.
you have to. Every recipe calls for it, and
Yes.
then if you don't, then you're like, "Something's off." Well, it's the bay leaf.
Yeah.
Um, and then you also have Lynn Biandola, who's still around. There are we didn't see as great of a performance from her, but Alyssa Thompson's still around. And there's plenty of attacking talent in the NWSL, including, Jaden Shaw, who we saw. We're going to have Croy Bethune hopefully back, and those are just attacking pieces of a front four that can really replace what we'll lose with Soph. And to be honest, with Kat Macario, it might not even be replacing Soph. It could look like a completely different team there, because of what she offers and how she's able to facilitate attack as well.
I feel like Henry Ford in the Ford versus Ferrari movie, sitting at the edge of the conference table with Matt Damon, and Matt Damon's talking as Carroll Shelby. It's my turn to go Henry Ford.
Okay.
Expound.
Well, so Kat Macario is a more all-around player, and she is definitely one who will be more comfortable playing with her back to goal. She's also one who's way more comfortable dropping deep into the midfield. And so we saw a lot of this when Lindsay Heaps was also on the field, where Kat would drop deep, Lindsay would move forward and do her kind of signature run into the box where she pretends to be a striker for a hot second. And I think we'll see more of that if Soph is out. But Soph is also a very dynamic attacker and does things that Kat can't do. I mean, Soph can be a bowling ball going through defenses, and that is the point. Is we have a very great treasure trove attacking talent, and so with Sophia Wilson out, while it does take away from that triple espresso, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just add another Stanford girl in there, and somehow things do well.
So to flip that to the men's national team, my question for you, sir, is this: Serginho Dest is now getting back to getting reps at
He is
PSV.
playing soccer again.
Yes. So if you would please, with Serginho Dest now back getting minutes playing soccer after a
Mhm.
prolonged absence, and I will italicize that particular word and put it in quotes.
Mhm.
How does Serginho Dest reinsert himself into rotations,
Yeah.
discussions, and playing time?
So, he just does. One, if you're asking me what Serginho does, thinks, or whatever, I no one knows. Only he does. But he is, if he is playing soccer, he's your starter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality for this men's national team. He and Jedi are indescribably important to this team because of their attacking talents. Um, Joe Scally has been an okay deputy, but I think everyone's realized that Joe is like just average, an average at best Bundesliga player.
So you're saying he's an average Joe?
He's an average Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he's an average Joe in the Bundesliga, but that's not what Sergino Dest adds to the team and the full dynamic of what we see on the field. This is something we did not expect. We did not really know when he would return because, as you said, it was very prolonged. We thought, and we also thought that, okay, well, if he's coming back in March, does that mean the end of March? And is he going to be released for Nations League? So hopefully he's on that roster that's supposed to come out today. Of course, it'll come out, right after we get done talking.
Of course.
But that's the hope, because if he's on that roster, then I think a lot of the tension that fans are feeling toward the Nations League semifinal against Panama does go out the window a little bit, because he does provide a different attacking option from that right back spot. And to be honest, if you remember back to November, John, when we had Nations League against Jamaica, Poch brought two fullbacks. That was it. He brought Joe Scally and he brought Jedi Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He was very clear that he felt that other players could fill that role. Tim Weah, probably the foremost, but even, Weston McKinney, Yunus Musa are guys who have played right back, could probably play left back. That having him back, having Dest back, means you're not thinking too far down. You go, well, I'm bringing Dest, I'm bringing Scally, I'm bringing Jedi. And Joe Scally's your kind of backup at multiple positions. I'm sure Tim Ream will also be on the roster, who could provide cover at left back. Don't ask him to defend Matt Edwards, because that won't be good for him. But hey, we all have our kryptonite. And that does help kind of solve some of the roster anxiety and just questions you have if you go, well, oof, who's our next right back? Because it's very clear that Poch doesn't really love a lot of the backup right back options. I mean, he basically didn't include Richie Ledesma, who it was Dest's backup at PSV. He didn't include him in the 60-man that we saw the end of February for this tournament, which was a red flag for a lot of fans, because he is in a dual national battle with Mexico, and very much as much as he'd like to play for the U.S., has not hidden the fact that he will play for Mexico if given that opportunity. This means we're not worried about that. There's no Marlon Fossey. There's no Brian Reynolds. There's none of that. It's going to be Sergiño Dest, Joe Scally, and that's what we have to worry about.
So Fossey. I see it. Okay. Men's national team has announced their June matches against Turkey and Switzerland against the 25 ahead of the 25 Gold Cup. It appears June.
Oh, they just announced that. Thanks, John. Breaking news.
Yes, exactly. Well, shoot, why not? It's a Monday. We'll go ahead and lay this out. So there you go. There's your breaking news. June 7, East Hartford. And
we're going back there. Great.
June 10, Geodis.
Okay, John, I'm gonna get mad now.
All right.
We did this last October. Literally. We did this exact thing last October. We played Germany in East Hartford, and then we played Ghana in Nashville. The exact same schedule. What are we doing? Why? Why are we playing the same darn places? Sorry, I don't like this.
I
I don't like it.
Trust me, I understand the angst and anger. So here we go. Nearly 1 year before the start of the World Cup, the USA will first host Turkey at Pratt and Whitney. 3:30 in the afternoon, broadcast on TNT True, Telemundo, Universo, Max, and Peacock. 3 days later, send-off match ahead of the Gold Cup, Geodis, June 10, 8 p.m. Eastern, TNT True, Max, Universo, and Peacock. Live on radio, Westwood 1. Tickets available starting March 14th at 10 a.m. local venue. And pre-sale, Swish and Precision, Soccer
So
Legacy.
that's a Tuesday, John. That's a tough one to swing for us from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
4 hours.
Pratt and Whitney has hosted the USMNT 8 times since 2005.
A lot of times.
The USA 4-1-2 at the venue, including the 1-0 win against TNT in World Cup qualifier in 2005. Side the send-off match in 06, Gold Cup group stage in 13, and Don Ovan's farewell in 2014. Overall 5-2-2 at East Hartford. Nashville 5-2-2. Cities played host to World Cup qualifiers, Gold Cup memorable performances, including Josie's hat trick in 09, Tyler Adams' first international goal 2018. And it's the second match at Geodis following the commanding win against Ghana, October 17 of 2023. So that is the breakdown of the why, or at least the background and the history anyway, as to what you're looking at with them folk. So there you go. So go ahead, line it up, knock it down. You're not happy that you're running through the same circles.
No, because we've seen this issue repeatedly with U.S. soccer, and this is a legitimate gripe from fans that they continue to go to the same locations. And this is literally the same locations that we did in October, the same cadence, East Hartford and Nashville. I'm not saying anything about any of these particular, like individually, that's fine. I mean, I personally think we need to stop playing at East Hartford, but whatever. Whatever. But this is just annoying that we're going back to it, especially because the Gold Cup will be, we know, well, my reporting is we'll be playing in Minneapolis at the big stadium, which is kind of cool. That's somewhat new. Granted, the women are playing there. And then playing in St. Louis for the Gold Cup group stage as well, which again, the women are playing there in June. So I don't know what the scheduling is doing, John. This is just a mess of stepping on yourself and finding a way to get in your way. I mean, I think this is a little I don't like it, John. Sorry. I think this is uncreative. And more importantly, as you have the opportunity to reach a lot of fans in this lead up to 2026, going back to places that you go regularly. I think I've been to Nashville for a U.S. soccer game every year since 2019. Not COVID year, but like it's been there for a long time. This seems short-sighted. This is an opportunity to play in a place like Indianapolis, which is close to Minnesota, from what I remember from my looking at my maps in
Uh,
grade school.
yes.
An opportunity to play somewhere just slightly different. Um, but good opponents, definitely better opponents than we're going to see in the Gold Cup. So that's a plus.
Okay. Uh, obviously we'll have more to talk about that, but okay. So I'm guessing Indianapolis, you're either going to have to roll turf into
Yeah,
the
figure it out.
the stadium because you can't play at Ooey Pooey, and it's too small anyway. So yeah, you'd have to figure out how to make that go down. Summer series coming to Mercedes Benz once again, and so we get more Premier League stuff. Bournemouth actually is going to be a part of the summer series this time around, so it'll be interesting to go into Mercedes Benz to see him play on grass again.
Hopefully, Tyler Adams is healthy. I'm sure he would actually really enjoy that. I know he would love to have the opportunity to play in front of Americans for his club team. That would be kind of cool. Also, is it Michael B. Jordan who's a co-owner of Bournemouth? Is that who it is, or is it someone else?
Yeah,
B.
it's
Jordan. Okay.
it's Bill Foley who owns the Vegas Golden Knights and that wing, and he went and got
Right.
Bournemouth on the cheap. And yeah, Michael B. Jordan is part co-owner of Bournemouth.
I hope Michael B. Jordan just happens to be in Atlanta and I run into him. That would be, well, I would be happy.
And then you get to ask him. It's like, so what do you think
I-
about the sell-on of Milos Kerkez? Sir?
No, I just want to get his picture and have him smile at me. Let's not complicate this too much.
I'm just saying, you wander up to him and sit there and you're asking him about his manager and everything, and you're like, "So what about Milos Kerkez? So what about Justin Kluivert?" And he sits there giving you this look.
Just ask him about Tyler Adams. Hey, do you like Tyler? And he'll go,
There,
yeah.
yes, there you go. That's your in right there.
I mean, I'm sure Michael B. Jordan. I mean, knowing he's not he's attended matches. He's a sports fan, but yeah, I like many owners. He's not going to get in the nitty gritty of why did I keep this player, sell them on to pick up everything. So
right. Okay, so let me go in this direction. We do have a couple of cards and issues and points to get into, and I am going to start in reffing down here.
well, everyone thought Miss Tori Penso had a terrible game, and I think if you say that about a performance by a woman on International Women's Day, you're just sexist. So,
I was not going to go, sir, in that direction. But what I was going to do was, what mug are you breaking out today?
It says be kind.
Okay, so you may not
need to write 2 referees right here.
Well, yeah, really, you need to get that that group of gear together. But it does have to do with the jersey that you're wearing and a particular moment as you're breaking out your Arsenal gear today. So the moment in question, and there are a couple of different angles to take at here, and I need you to figuratively take your jersey off in the analysis here. It was a goal off of a set piece that made a difference, and it was a tremendous golazo. And post match, it even got to the point to where the manager of the team that was impacted by said set piece walked off the interview from Sky Sports because he was that kind of chapped about the line of questioning. And what we're discussing here is the Bruno Fernandes free kick that went over the wall into the net and got Manchester United a goal. And now Arsenal is 15 points back, if memory serves, now in trying to chase after Liverpool. Good luck in chasing after Liverpool.
We're not chasing Liverpool. We're just trying to secure top 2 at this point.
Yes. So you got folks coming from behind, namely Nottingham Forest. And the discussion after the match was that Bruno Fernandes scores directly from the free kick just before halftime. And you got folks that have the Zapruder film out, and they've got they have all of the technology, and they're sitting there and they're staring at it. And the Arsenal wall, apparently, according to 21st century technology, was 11.2 meters back rather than the regulation 10. And there was
actually from a meter standpoint, it's like 9-ish, but
yeah. So and there was thought, there was a line of thought that referee Anthony Taylor had done it that way as a part of his process, or that Bruno Fernandes had backed the ball up to create more space.
I mean, either way, it's true that the Arsenal wall was farther back than it should have been. And this is a weird place to get that completely wrong like that, because it's close to the penalty arc, which is 10 yards away from the penalty spot. So like you have markings on the field to kind of like actually check yourself on. Yeah, this was something I noticed, not when I was watching, because I was watching in a bar. So, I'm not like,
You're kind of busy.
well, no, I was watching, but I'm like, I can't, I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm looking at a
all of
TV that's
the
multiple. Yeah.
atmosphere behind you
I'm
would be
looking at a TV that's kind of far away. Also, dreading the fact that this is the only possible way that Manchester United was going to score on the day was a Bruno Fernandes free kick. It definitely looked farther back than it should have been, right? And I think that's a fair argument. In the long list of things that Arsenal has had complaints about this season when it comes to refereeing favoring teams that aren't Arsenal, especially teams from Manchester and or Liverpool. So clearly there's a bias against London teams in refereeing. They they prefer the northern teams, and that's fine. That's just what happens. But no, seriously, it did look farther back.
Mm.
I have not been able to see anything if it was Fernandez moving it back or Anthony Taylor just taking an extra step. Maybe he miscounted. Seems convenient he miscounted on a free kick that was in prime spot to hit from one of the best free kick takers in the league. But it happens. You do miscount sometimes.
Yeah.
How that was a yellow card, I'm still not sure. I think that's the next part. Is it's definitely a foul, but to give that a yellow card was a little harsh, to be frank. That, especially when you look at some other fouls that did not get called yellow cards within the scope of that match.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely fair to say that this was farther back than it should have been. And to your point of the 11.2 meters, we're talking. So when I do it right, it's 10 yards.
Yeah.
If you measure by meters, it's 9 point something meters.
Yeah, sure. I think 9.7.
Yeah, 9.7. I don't know. Meters didn't go to the moon, John.
Truth.
The point is that's about a whole step, right? So that's basically saying you counted to 11 instead of 10. There's a lot of reasons why that could happen. And I'll just say that it shouldn't happen to a dude who's been a Premier League referee for almost a decade and has refereed some of the highest international matches, that he's been assigned to. So it seems like a mistake, but it's a mistake that just so curiously happens against Arsenal in a spot where, again, the only way that Manchester United were really going to score today was the Bruno Fernandes free kick. And of course, that's what happened.
But then, all right. So,
but that's what happens when you let bad teams hang around.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely true. When it comes to, so if the magic spray goes down and a team still backs up, that's on the team. If the center ref marks it off incorrectly, obviously that's on center ref. What about the idea? And we saw this, Ivan Toney last season, I think, was trying to improve his positioning against, I think it was Spurs, if I remember correctly, at the G-Tech, and we got into it with that. What is the repercussion here, when it comes to enforcing said rule or something like that, other than, hey, put it back or something like that? Is there?
I mean, really, there's no real repercussion other than either put it back where it was or we take the free kick.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, a referee isn't gonna be super strict about a free kick moved back a couple of inches. Mainly because, like, to us, that's of all the battles we're going to pick, that's not one. But you can say, okay, well, then we're going to got to respray it, or you can tell them to move it up. You absolutely can. And in a free kick situation like this, where this is not a quick restart where, okay, well, I'm near-ish where the foul was, I'm going to set the ball down and kick it and play. When we have what we call ceremonial free kicks, we do need to be where the referee said the foul was, and we take the free kick from here. And now I'm going to start my counting, because While the defending team is not entitled to many things during a free kick. The 10 yards is something that we all understand is where you need to set your wall up. Um, so yeah, it's not like this is a great scandal by
Mhm.
any stretch, because it's not like you go, well, you gotta take the goal away.
Yeah,
This isn't something VAR is going to look at, but
right.
you do have to. Um, you could, if you were the referee, say no, put it back.
Yeah. Then another moment, and I'll get to there was a moment in La Liga that I do want to get into as well that Dale got into as a part of his weekend discussion. Cole Palmer, as he's setting up his penalty kick against Leicester. And we all know gamesmanship is gamesmanship and what have you. Keepers are going to do what keepers are going to do to try to throw a kicker off of their game. When it comes to placing the ball on the penalty spot, how is it different than when you're trying to line up a corner kick and it's on the drawing of the arc? What are the parameters about where the ball can and can't be when it comes to being placed for a PK and then versus a corner kick?
Well, John,
I feel there's a drum roll coming.
where the laws of the game are concerned,
Okay.
you are supposed to put the ball on or overhanging the center of the spot.
The center of the spot.
That's what the laws of the game say.
Okay.
Now, that is a modification for this year, because players were doing the hangover of like the spot of like the whole spot, right? And so you're putting it right on the edge of the penalty spot as a whole. Um, I think what IFAB realized is a lot of spots were inconsistently drawn in both width and roundness, and some are just a hash mark and everything. So it is supposed to be on or overhanging the center of the spot. So where does that differ from the corner kick arc? Well, you can put it as long as it is overhanging any part of the corner kick arc, you're good. Similar to like a ball in and out of play of a goal line or sideline.
So for the Cole Palmer penalty, where the keeper for Leicester is gesticulating wildly and saying it's not, it's not, it's not, it still didn't look like it was hanging over the center by the time it was replaced. And like
Correct.
we can do the we can do the Zapruder film and look at it as we wish. It just didn't look like it had completely and totally. It was not being observed in laws of the game in a position where it was supposed to be. It was taken. Ball goes in. Leicester feels aggrieved. That's a lot of point. That's a possibility of points that they could try to get out of the relegation zone. So there's a lot of stuff here. Let me see if I can. And I know that this is going to make for tremendous video since we can't superimpose. I don't think. At least I know that I can't because I'm an idiot. So let's see if we can find Cole Palmer's spot and turn this into a field trip. But it ends up being a miss anyway, and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
But okay.
I think if you're looking at it, and the goalkeeper is right to say, "Hey, that's not where it needs to be."
Yeah,
I think the whole point, the spirit of the modification of the law, is to make sure players aren't gaining an unfair advantage by, again, putting that ball on the edge of the spot and going, well, half of the tiniest sliver of the ball, because it is a sphere,
yes,
is overhanging this spot, right? I think essentially, if you're looking at a penalty spot,
yeah.
you want the ball to still be inside that little circle that you're drawing. And again, that's where we want to say on or overhanging the center of the spot.
By the time that all of the finger pointing by Mads Hermansson and center ref and all this kind of stuff happens, it's 77 seconds. It is a minute 17 before Cole Palmer gets the opportunity to try to kick it. Hermansson ends up saving it, and it could have turned the game a lot sooner for Leicester that way. And this was in the 21st minute, and Leicester could have been trying to navigate some kind of a result here. But yeah, 77 seconds as Hermansson continued to sit there and say, "Yo, bro, this ain't right."
I'm looking at it and it looks okay enough. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so okay enough is how you're judging.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay enough. So
Yep.
we will
Okay enough.
we will
And
take.
that sounds really, but I understand. I think probably when it was first placed, the goalkeeper had every right to say, "Hey, man, what is going on?"
Yes, yo, bro. The other moment that I wanted to get into with you, I want you to take a peek at go to Dale's account, and once again, you had 2 VAR reds in a matchup in La Liga, Alaves and Villarreal, and you end up with a keeper moment where you have Ioze Perez, who is trying to figure out how to navigate a sliding keeper. And the point that Dale is making, contact is made as Ioze Perez, keeper is sliding into the path of the ball is taking. Ioze tries to play the ball underneath the left arm of the keeper as he is trying to brace himself and slide. But Dale is making the point that is the keeper trying to protect his face as Ioze Perez is trying to pass the ball A, put it toward goal B, and at the same time avoid contact in quotation marks. But if a keeper is trying to protect himself in a situation where somebody's burrowing down at him at a high rate of speed, and you end up making contact with the player as you're sliding past and protecting yourself, is it still not a foul because you're still in the path of the player, regardless of what you're doing to try to make sure you don't get hit in the head?
Yeah, I'm trying to watch this because
Because
I'll be honest, this seems like a fairly normal challenge
yeah,
by the goalkeeper.
yeah, and so
Like, I'm not entirely sure this is a yellow card at all.
mhm.
Um,
And he was down injured for 10
yeah.
minutes. Down injured for 10 minutes. The right leg of Ioze Perez comes and makes contact with the side of
Ugh.
his face, and he's not allowed to leave the field while the review's taking place. So there's a lot
Ugh.
of stuff at play here with this particular element from a play in La Liga. So you
Yeah, I understand a little bit where they think that the arm was somehow used to take him down, but that is bad refereeing. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think
okay,
that's using your judgment well. The
okay,
problem is because it's a yellow card, it's not a VAR thing, you
yeah.
know? I
So
mean, I don't think you're using VAR to let's put it, you're not if your decision is a yellow card,
mhm,
using VAR to determine is it a red card or not isn't gonna help if you're giving a second yellow card.
yeah. So
This does not seem like a good decision.
yeah, so that was where you were. Uh, so that was one of the ones that I wanted
Mhm.
to look at, and then I also wanted you to take a peek at the red card that might impact Sunday Night Football here on here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Oscar Ustari is given a dog so red
Yeah.
in the matchup against Charlotte, and it ends up with our old friend Rocco Rios Novo going between the sticks and having to sacrifice Ustari. But sacrifice Kremoski, but it didn't make a darn bit of difference because Charlotte didn't score and they really didn't have a whole lot of imagination going into this one. But the Ustari dog so is what it was called. It went it. They,
Yeah.
it took a little bit of time to sit there and go, yeah. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think the issue here is twofold. One, as the goalkeeper being the last man outside your penalty area, you're looking at possibly opening yourself up to this. Um, I think it's fair to say there are defenders back, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's fair to say the attacker may not have been directly headed toward goal, but he also has a teammate.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the other thing here is he's not the only attacker back, right? So again, it's not an obvious goal. It is a goal scoring opportunity that you are denying an obvious goal. This looks like an obvious goal scoring opportunity. And I know I'm looking at a freeze frame and multiple replays, but I don't think Ostari has a whole lot of to stand on here.
Yeah. So you had two players that were sprinting toward goal,
Mhm.
Zaha being one of them. And there was Guido Gonzalez Jr. was like, yeah, that was no worries. I'm flashing this, and it is
Yeah.
bang, we're done.
So you go through the D's, defenders. Okay, there are defenders finally coming back, but I think when the foul is initially made, you can argue that the defenders aren't truly there. And
Zaha was well ahead of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and with the goalkeeper being the last defender in this case, okay, so there's one defender. He's the last defender. Direction, it's toward goal,
Yeah.
right? I think it's fair to say it's toward goal. It may not. John, it doesn't matter if the contact is minimal or not. If it's foul, it's foul. It's a red
Mhm.
card. Um, Direction, goal, I think it's direct toward goal. Distance to goal, it's relatively close to goal, right? We're talking 25 yards out. It's
Yes.
not like, oh, he's in the box, but it's close to goal.
Yeah.
Um, Distance to the ball, he's very well in possession of this ball. I think is fair. So
Yeah,
it,
he
it
had
makes all the D's that you would
Zaha made his
dog.
first
So
touch as
yeah,
Ustari was coming out, and
yeah,
Zaha is trying to have contact with the
yeah.
ball, go to his right, Ustari's left. Ustari is still coming out on a straight line and makes
And he
contact
just
with
kind of
Zaha.
trips him. Basically, it's
Yeah,
foul. It's dog. So it's a red card.
yeah.
Um,
So I mean, no VAR review. This was
yeah,
Guido Gonzalez Jr. going bang, no
yeah,
second thought whatsoever.
yeah. And let's talk about the VAR aspect, John, because is this a clear and obvious error?
No.
No, exactly. And so this is not going to be reviewed. Had I will say, had you given just a yellow card for stopping a promising attack, maybe you could argue that it would have stayed a yellow. But I think if you would have given it a yellow, then you would have been looking at the monitor because it would have been in potentially a clear and obvious error for a red card. I think this is definitely more of a red card than anything.
Yeah.
Despite the minimal contact, it don't matter. He still tripped him.
Yeah, I was going to
You
say
know,
contact, minimal or otherwise, is still contact in the
it's still
discussion.
contact.
And so Ustari makes contact as Zaha's going by, and
Yep.
Ustari tries to be a little sly about it, which is a good keeper. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's absolutely a red card. I don't see how anyone could really argue this. But hey, it gets Rocco Rio with Snovo and goal, so good for him.
yes, and to the point about Wilf Zaha in this match, let me go and check. I want to check the SOFA score numbers on Wilf Zaha because Zaha ended up being a target basically uh, for the defensive Messi and friends, or anybody from Messi and friends, at a moment of at a moment where Wilf had the ball. He basically was like, "All right, let's knock him down, let's push him and do whatever." And then you get into the discussion of, okay, and this is something that I wanted to ask you about this time, is the idea of trying to draw a foul / draw a card versus persistent infringement versus simulation, and then trying to get the center ref to sit there and listen to your pleas while you're sitting on the ground, your arms are up, all these kinds of things. So when it comes to the idea of persistent infringement, which is something I don't think we see a whole lot of cards on, or we should be seeing more cards on in Major League Soccer. That's just me. When you look at persistent infringement, what are your limits, or what are your parameters when it comes to persistent infringement, and then when to sit there and go out of the pocket and go bang?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. Obviously, persistent meaning it needs to happen more than once, more than twice, and I would even say more than 3 times. Now, that said, you're looking at the time period because if you foul a guy or if you commit 4 fouls within a 90-minute period, is that really persistent infringement? Not really. But if you've committed 3 fouls in the first 30 minutes of a game, that is what we're looking at borderline persistent infringement. I'm going to step in and say, hey, number 12, that's 3 fouls. We're in the first half. You need to be careful. Um, so that's kind of what we're looking at for persistent infringement. It's not just the total, but you have to kind of keep in context of like, well, of course, people are going to foul people. This is soccer. But what is that time period and is it compressed? I mean, especially when you're talking about some people, hey, you've committed 2 fouls in 5 minutes. You need to be careful. That might not be a complete 1, 2, 3 counting no more, but it might be a conversation of like, hey, man, we're 15 minutes into this game. You've committed 3 fouls. Like, you need to settle yourself down, or you just came onto the game in the 67th minute. It's minute 75, and you're already 2 fouls into the game. Chill. Um, so persistent infringement is a little bit of a loose definition, but it is. I mean, you have to have multiple fouls, and usually within some sort of time frame that makes you go, ooh, that's a lot. Again, 4 fouls over 90 minutes, meh. But that also said, I think referees need to do better about keeping track of it. It's hard. But on the same token, if you tell a player, hey, in the first half, like 1, 2, 3, no more, and it's minute 32, his next foul doesn't come until minute 67, is that really persistent infringement? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? That you do need to give some sort of like, well, of course you fouled a guy because, he happened to be in your area and you ran into him. It happens. Like, we're 22 humans on a feels big, but it's a small piece of land, and you're going to run into each other and foul each other, which happens. But yeah, the persistent infringement thing, I agree with you, John. We need to be better at tracking it in this league, especially when it comes to fouling certain players.
And speaking of fouling certain players, by the way, you want to talk marked man? Will Zaha was fouled 7 times.
Yeah, and that would be persistent infringement.
Well, but but the thing is, like we see with certain teams, what they do is they line up a player, and it's like, all right, so I'm gonna foul him, and then somebody else is gonna foul him, and then you're gonna figure out where that line is. And I think that Messi and friends in this matchup against Charlotte, it was like, all right, it's your turn. Okay, it's your turn, and then it's your turn. So then if it's different dudes going after the same guy. So, say just for the sake of argument, and I'm not matching yellow card to individual, but you foul somebody 10 times or 7 times. Yannick Bright, for the sake of argument, considering that he got a yellow in this match, Yannick Bright fouls Zaha, and he ended up getting a yellow. Then you end up with and Guido Gonzalez Jr. in this match. Basically, it was like Suarez gets one for poor sportsmanship. Color me, I'm shocked. Ustari gets a red for the dog. So Melanda got a yellow. Avilas got a yellow. He's a walking yellow card, by the way. And it's like, all right, I'm going to size up this guy. And our friends in Philly under Jim Curtin were great at this, figuring out where that line is, having different dudes go after one guy. When in your mind, when different dudes are going after a guy, does that fall into a persistent infringement where you're fouling the same guy, and then as a result of fouling the same guy, if it's the third or fourth or fifth guy, does he get a yellow in this?
There's different philosophies on this in the refereeing world. One is you're trying to keep track of fouls that a player or fouls that are committed on a player.
Yeah.
Some people, and I'm kind of in this, but I also don't referee professional soccer games, so this is my experience.
Right.
Will say, hey, that's 4 fouls on number 4. That is enough. Y'all need to stop this and make it very clear. And then there are some people who say, no, you just give the card when you feel like it's been when that player has been fouled too much. Personally, I like to at least, because I have coaches and parents and players who don't know what the hell I'm doing out there half the time because they're not educated enough.
Right.
I like to explain why I'm about to give this card. Right. And if you just say, that's the 4th foul on this player, here's your yellow card.
Right.
People get a little confused.
Because it wasn't that dude that had fouled the player.
It wasn't the same player who fouled the player 4 times. Right. But I understand also the converse of, no, you just give the card because you don't want to tell the attacking team, if you will, that, hey, this player now, if I'm protecting him unduly, right? Most of the time, this is an attacking player, right? So the fouls aren't necessarily sinister as much as they are like, no, we're just not going to let you do your thing.
Right.
That was probably Miami's. Miami's not a great defensive team, so if
Mm.
their only way to stop people is to foul the crap out of them, make sure we have the ice bath ready on Sunday for Alexi and Miggy. Well, not
10,
Alexi, he doesn't
10
run fast enough.
well,
For
latte
Miggy and
and latte.
Saba and Latte, not Moranchuk. He would
Well,
actually have
and
to do something in a game.
10 fouls on the day, yesterday afternoon.
And 7 on Zaha.
7 were
Yeah,
performed
and
on
that's the thing is like now Miami might be having this is where refereeing, the point of PRSA and pro and all these things is to hopefully, sorry Miami, maybe you get a reputation. Hey, they tend to look for a player and they're going to foul him, because that's a very clear indication of we're fouling this dude, everyone else whatever.
yeah.
So
And
again, get the ice baths ready for Lot for
yeah,
Saba for Miggy.
yeah.
Moranchuk will still not do anything. It'll be fine.
Yep, there it goes. All right, so you pushed you and Ebony were together for
Yes.
Soccer for POD CXII, I believe.
112 for those
Yes.
who don't care to do the Roman numeral
Well, I
counting. Yeah.
see, but for me, that's a challenge on a Monday. I can sit there and try to process. I was like, so what's 112? So that's
I'm
C.
surprised you're still able to talk and your brain is functioning after basketball weekend.
Who said my brain was functioning after
Well,
basketball
who
week?
said your brain functions?
That exactly.
I feel like basketball is tougher than football because there's way more action
I mean,
going on all the time.
it
Football
literally
has,
is.
yeah,
Football, you have your 2 hours and 45 minutes, and you can sit there and kind of take a
and
break a little bit.
it's loud in that arena.
When the Macon Coliseum, and I will recommend, this is your required viewing for the day. If you go to the GPB Sports YouTube channel, go to the Best Academy Southwest
Oh, I
Macon
watched
game.
that game a little bit.
That game was the loudest that the
Yeah.
Macon Coliseum has been in a long time, for obvious reasons. And the fire marshal actually shut the doors. There were people parking in the grass outside the Macon Coliseum trying to get into the 6,500 seat venue. And there was an announcement that was made second quarter by PA that if you're standing, find a seat so other folks can come in and watch. But to have that noise coming in that building, which is a mausoleum at points, and to full credit to the city of Macon and Bibb County government that they've renovated it and they've changed seat backs the last couple of years and they've gussied up the court and everything. But I mean, the acoustics in that building have some weird bounces to it. But when it's loud, those weird bounces make it almost louder.
Mm-hmm.
And so because this is a building, I think it's 1970 was when it was built. But yeah, there's some weird acoustics in there, and then it just bounces funny, and it gets really loud, and it's almost oppressive loud when you have a team like Southwest Macon.
Mm-hmm.
So watch that game to see what Macon Coliseum can be when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, it's an interesting venue from an architecture standpoint as well.
And an hour and a half for each game. Literally, it's like hour and a half, you're back in. Hour and a half, you're back in. Hour and a half, you're back in. And so literally it was an 11-hour day on Saturday, 10-hour days Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday. So that was 41 hours of in the building and about 35 or 36 hours of airtime in a 4-day period. So no, it was fun, but no, who the hell says my brain functions on a normal basis, much less coming back from basketball? Dude,
Well,
I got fresh air barbecue in the fridge. I'm
hey, that's good then. Well, congrats on a big weekend, week, whatever you want to call it.
It has passed. But what's going on with 112, sir?
Well, we'll see when this roster gets released.
11-0.
Oh, sorry, with 112. Sorry. 112 was the She Believes recap Ebony and I talked about. Kind of, I mean, if you want the synopsis, neither of us were mad. We lost to a very good Japan team, whatever. I think we were more upset that we didn't see more fresh faces and more of them starring throughout the tournament. Because if you were going to lean in a little bit more to the exploratory mission, you should explore a little bit more. But we talk about some of the players who did stand out, and then some of the players who probably shouldn't be coming back. And there's one in particular that we talk about who we don't think should be coming back. So give that a listen, and you'll find out who we're talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
As the kids say, that's a tease
That's the
in,
tease.
in the media parlance. As always, my friend, great to catch up with you. It's like literally, I have a couple of moments and a couple of ideas,
And
uh,
then we
and then on our Mondays, and it's like, oh, that triggered something, and then that figured an idea, and that figured an idea, and that figured an idea. So, yeah, so it is out of control with us traditionally on Mondays here in hour number 2. As always, my friend, great to see you. And trust me, we'll catch up sooner rather than later. I know it's because you got the keys to the castle. You know how to get
yeah.
in on the free for all.
Well, we'll see if depending on when this roster drops,
Yeah,
we might have to come back Friday and talk about it, but that'll also be the next episode. We probably won't record this week because, of course, the roster will drop today or tomorrow. I forget which one. I think it's today, maybe tomorrow. And then, by next Monday, we'll have like 3 replacements because someone will be hurt of some sort because that's how the U.S. men's national team works. So
it
we'll
gives us
probably,
more, look, it gives us more to talk about in
yeah,
temporal. That's all.
exactly. We'll probably have the actual recorded episode and preview for next week. So yeah.
Right on. So as always, my friend, we'll see you soon. We'll catch up sooner. All right. There goes Bart, and so Bart's gonna do like work and stuff. Like I said, it's always fun to catch up with Bart on Mondays because of and why we started doing refing down here was because of all of the events that we sit there and we look at on the weekend and all of the different leagues and approaches and personalities and all that kind of stuff, and to have Bart come in who has the laws of the game at least written down if not memorized, to at least walk us through these situations and figure out what folks are thinking. Even if obviously Bart has not called a match in Major League Soccer, he can at least walk us through the laws of the game and can let us know incrementally what the process is when something happens. And so that was literally, I had a couple of ideas about plays, and then that triggered another one and another one and another one, and that's where it spirals out of control like it always does. Okay, what's on your guys' mind? And so let me go back to the top of the order and roll through what's on everybody's mind here today. So obviously, Michael wasn't a fan. He thought it was just another meh match. And for Alex, happy that basketball championships coverage, but he didn't appreciate us going over news hour. There's gotta be a way to watch PBS streamed in like real time when it comes to the programming grid. That's just there's got to be a way. It might be through Passport or something at GPB or something like that. And to Michael, to the point that we were discussing with the players understanding, specifically Derek Williams, when we had his quote, just winning the home matches out of the blocks. Otherwise, you're going to have to end up taking points on the road. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your thoughts and thought patterns on the world famous Golden Delicious hash browns from Waffle House, according to Harry. So apparently, Alex, the Alex would opine. He's got a life. He doesn't. Stop. Harry, USL Championship kicked off. Yes. Tough weekend for the Fighting Kailers. And hopefully by Thursday, he'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a big weekend. And as we get closer and closer to match week 2, we'll get into the scores and all the news and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Kaler will be joining us now. Now that the season has started, he'll be with us the last Tuesday of every month at 10:30 Eastern, and then we'll go through everything when it comes to USL Championship and League One. Matt, I think we're seeing adjustments. Personally, believe improvements are happening. Defensively, performed very well. ATLUTD got his bell rung by Goose and was a little off. Yeah, that was one of the points that we were looking at. Where, yeah, when you get squeezed between a Red Bulls player and a polar bear, you're kind of having to take a little bit to shake it off and get yourself back to full song. So, Emilio felt more encouraged than discouraged. Defense played better. Hearing similar concerns, Dial is better equipped to fix it. And in his mind, has there ever been an MLS champion fall as quickly as the Galaxy? 4 straight losses to start the season. Well, and we discussed Greg Vanney. Is where is the hot seat now? Where's the hot seat now? That's the big question. We thought that the hot seat was in Portland. Is it in LA? But I think that Vanny gets a little grace, A, Harry, because of him being MLS champ, and B, not having Paintsel for another couple of weeks, not having Ricky Puig, and then trying to figure out Marco Royce's gas tank. I think that's a part of it. You're not getting the production, I don't think, out of Diego Fagundes that you were hoping for, and then trying to figure out the attack. Once again, no Joveljic, he's in Kansas City. Injuries to Paintsel and Peck. To Paintsel and Puig. So you have Gabriel Peck, who is shouldering more of the offensive load. Fagundes on the left-hand side, Peck on the right-hand side. And, Miguel Berry getting substantive minutes so far this early in the season. So I think more than anything, it's just make sure that, and you're relying on Marco Royce. And Marco Royce didn't have a whole lot of minutes last season. So he had an off-season to rest up, get acclimated to what Vanny wants him to do. And right now, LAG isn't getting any kind of output that they were anticipating with the lineups and the changes that they have. But I think right now it's just navigate and stem the tide and make sure that you can get there on the other side. Because when you get obviously when you get Paintsel back, that creates more problems on the wings and more options, to get toward goal and that kind of a thing. So I think it's literally, it's like you're kind of biding time and try to figure out what you can do. Well, and Katie, Noah, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't an experiment. It was Noah. It's just basically there for that. Katie was mentioning there wouldn't be a Noah Cobbett right back experiment. Sometimes you just have to put folks in places late in the match. And so if let me go back and look at the I'm going to go back and look at the substitution pattern and see what it was looking like when Noah came in, and see that, right now you're chasing a goal at that point. And so it might have looked like he was at right back, but not necessarily playing a right back. I mean, probably if things are twisted, then what you're doing is, okay, so that's the lineup. All right, so if the lineup is Amador, Derek, Stian, and Matt, so Matt gets subbed. Stian stayed, Derek stayed, Pedro stayed. So what you're doing is, with the substitution of Noah for 20, I think what you're doing is, to be honest, I think really you're taking Noah. Yes, it was for Matt, but I think what you're doing is you're trying to advance Amador forward. And so literally it's almost like Amador is turning into more of a wing back. Noah is a right center back. And then you have Stian and Derek. So basically think of it like you're turning a dial on an old stereo receiver. And so you've got to be more offensive with 20 to go. So you swap out Noah, who can get back defensively if you need him to, and you swap him out for Matt, who probably had one of the highest grades for anybody there with Atlanta United. So think of it like this, and don't necessarily think of it formationally. So if you're turning a volume dial on an old stereo receiver, think of it this way: Noah comes in for Matt, but what you want to do is you want to get Pedro Amador forward to help out, to give crosses from the left. So what you've done is you've turned the volume knob one notch. So that means that Noah is more of a right center back, and then Stian and Derek are helping out on the left-hand side. Noah can come forward, but he can also run back and defend. So he's not really a right back per se. So it's not an experiment of Noah at right back. You're trying to get Pedro forward, and positionally, you're going to have Bart probably slide over a little bit to help out with the left-hand side of the attack. So he's not really a right back. Yes, he did substitute for the right back in that equation, but you're chasing a goal and you've turned the knob at the back line one volume over. So everything slides. Bart slides probably over to his right a little more to help out defensively and help out there. Noah can come back and help out and defend. He's more of a right center back with Bart helping out on the right-hand side up the attack up the right-hand side. Does that make any sense? So, like, just think of it like you're turning a knob, and and like I said, in position, not positions, but layout is kind of a loose construct with 20 to go anyway when you're chasing a goal. So, literally, I would look at it this way: when you have substitutions, or even as you're looking at things, when you have a formation, it is a 4-2-3-1 with Ronnie, but late in the game you're chasing after a goal. So turn the knob one to the left. Pedro turns into a left wing back. Everybody kind of slides. Bart helps out with activity on the attacking left. Noah can go up and back if he needs to, but it's like you've turned that knob one to the left. And so you've got the activity going up the left-hand side. So that's the best way that I can phrase it. It wasn't like right back for right back's sake. It was just you wanted to try to bring in fresher legs to help you out and spring Pedro up the left-hand side. So that's kind of how I'm envisioning it off the top of my head. So, but yeah, so I wouldn't take it as strictly a right back for right back positional replacement with 20 minutes to go. So that's just me trying to walk through it in my head as to what it would have been. Okay, Matt. Once again, goals are coming. Going to be a very difficult team to play. I don't know why AM59 is really disliked. I really don't. I haven't seen it per se. Of course, I'm not necessarily the biggest person to sit there and talk about social media, but I don't know why if AM59 is really disliked. I don't know why. Really don't. And Emilio obviously concerned, but July is July. That's 4 months from now. So just everybody's still trying to figure each other out. Everybody's trying to get acquainted in game state versus preseason. It's two entirely different things. And like I said, that's why I wanted to give you the quote from Miggy from after the match, to give that to you this morning as well. Alex wants to see fewer touches within the 20. Shoot the ball. They did in that first half. We went through the numbers and we looked at shots inside the 18. Let's see. Did they stop because what the opposition adjusted in the second half? That's what was said about Pineda not being able to make adjustments, just analyzing the statement. Did they stop because what the opposition adjusts? And, and sometimes if the opposition adjusts, then if you're in a new situation, you might be thinking a little too hard. And so this is, you might be thinking a little too hard with something new, So that would be my guess with all of that. You might be thinking a little too hard. And the predisposition to keep possession is to go all the way back to Brad, but you will notice that under Ronnie Dyla, if it goes all the way back to Brad wants to send it back forward just as quickly. It's not something where he hangs on to it and he's directing traffic and he's loitering. It's like goes back to Brad, back out. So that way you're continuing to push forward and work to what you want to do. And everyone wants to dummy back heel, etc. Don't need to walk it in. Edwin understands this. Yes. Alex, points in March count the same as points in September. That is absolutely true. And then Emilio with the point counterpoint with that whole thing, or the count pointer count. Katie, hot take. I think Sleesh could beat Miggy in a foot race. That would be an interesting foot race. I don't want it to happen during the season, but I think it would be an interesting foot race. Who's faster over 40 and who's faster over 100. That would be an interesting foot race. And Amelia is not a fan of Guido Gonzalez Jr. Yes, and David Sleesh and Gregerson both deceptively fast. And Gregerson can eat up a lot of space with the long legs. But yes, and you want someone who's also very fast? Noah. Noah has got lockdown. I mean, Noah has lockdown speed from like free safety lockdown speed. He's like an Ed Reed type. That corner can absolutely lock you down. Let's see. And then Mo, morning absinthe. Good morning there. And Abby happy about her Wheeler basketball. And once again, congrats on the unified announcement. PV Wolf confident that the attack will come together. Don't want to peak this early anyway. They're going to gel soon. And yeah, like I said, I'm glad that that Maddie and Jason got to host the unified ceremony yesterday. Absolutely true. So yeah, and Fanatis, yeah, definitely. Let's just go ahead and widen your horizons. Watch as many things as humanly possible. Absolutely true. Widen it out as humanly possible. And Derek, being the positive about daylight saving time is that it doesn't get dark at 6 o'clock, which is true, which helps me out when I go for my 4 miles. But I just don't. It's like getting up at 6:30 in the morning. You look outside and it's dark. It's just dark, man. It's dark. Grilling and warmth season. And Abby with the public service announcement. Unified matches, Nashville at Austin. Ooh. Wait a second. May. So unifieds. So now I'm going to have to write this down on the calendar. So the unified matches are after the Nashville game at Toronto. Interesting. Okay, so unified in Austin. That's another one. So we're going to have to catch up with Marty Jelmy in like late April and find out what's going on with Marty. So at Toronto, see, now that's a trip. That's a great trip for them. The unified go to Toronto and they go to Austin. I mean, you want to talk about you want to talk about you want to talk about like just trips that are all over the place. That is great. And so TFC and unified is a pregame. So unified pregame. I'm guessing have to flip the field for Falcons or something. So, but no, very cool. Very, very cool that they get to experience Austin and Toronto this year. 2 more venues that they haven't had the chance to look at this season. Very, very cool. And then everybody getting into the discussion of Arizona, Indiana, and the rest of us. Anyone likes daylight savings because it's lighter later. Say that 10 times fast. Lighter later. And yes, it was innovations in farming. It was farming, just trying to keep farmers to continue to be able to farm later into the evening. And Alex and Bart trading the back and forth with the Arsenal and the Newcastle. Yes, refs need love. 2 guys were at the tailgate. Very, very cool. Let's see. So what else is on folks' mind? Yes, absolutely true. Passports ready to ride. That's very cool. And then announcement was made by Greg on the unified schedule. Very, very cool. So very, very cool stuff there. Obviously, tomorrow we will get into the twos. We'll get into the rest of Major League Soccer. We'll get into the rest of what happened around the planet. And we'll get into everything else that's going on as we go. I'm going to try and get an interview out of Loganville for tomorrow that we're going to air. Really cool match day at Loganville High School tomorrow. It's for a great cause. We're trying to catch up with the head coach for Loganville to get more about it. We're probably going to have to tape it, and then we'll see what we can do in terms of flipping the interview. But if you're in the eastern sections of Atlanta outside the perimeter, if you don't have anything to do tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, East Side's playing Loganville for a good cause. And we're trying to catch up with the head coach. If we can't, try to tape it. And if we can tape it, we'll run it in the show tomorrow. And then we can try to figure it out from there. But yeah, East Side at Loganville tomorrow as a part of high school soccer. We'll be in the Pinelands. I'll be in the Pinelands tomorrow, but we're going to do the show once again here, kicking off at 9:05 to go through everything. All right, so gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we got out of here, and we'll let you know what else is going on in and around everything. So Chelsea apparently is lining up an offer for Job Bellingham from Sunderland. 3-letter paper, take the information at your own peril. Manchester United monitoring Jean-Philippe Mateta, also 3-letter paper, 12 goals, 27 appearances. Manchester City speaking to the reps of Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz as they look for a deal in the offseason. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich also interested as he's likely to leave Leverkusen in the summer. Chelsea and Barca have shown concrete interest in Rafa Leao from AC Milan. Manchester City making a summer bid for Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace. Jared Branthwaite could become Everton's highest paid player as he'll demand a contract worth about £150,000 a week to remain at the club. That's a lot. Everton will need to pay £40 million to sign Ecuadorian center back Joel Ordonez from Club Brugge in the summer. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea keeping tabs on Marcus Thuram at Inter Milan. Bayern Munich has entered the room when it comes to Dean Houston from Bournemouth, although is not a specific target for Bayern. Deportivo La Coruña fear having to sell Jeremy Hernandez if they miss out on promotion to La Liga, as his release clause in the summer would be about £30 million. Chelsea, Napoli, Como close to signing him in January. Joshua Kimmich ready to sign a new deal with Bayern Munich until 29. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Juve won another loan deal on Randall Colomouani in the summer with an option to buy from PSG. Barcelona began talks over extending the contract of Wojciech Szczesny from Nicolas Schira, and Atletico Madrid's Andrea Berta has agreed to take on the same role at Arsenal, despite interest from Manchester United and PSG. Well, there you go. That's a show. And once again, back at it again tomorrow. And like I said, we'll talk twos, we'll talk Major League Soccer, we'll talk all about all the other things, and maybe I can get my recorder to work so we can actually hear sound instead of me yammering quotes from Ronnie Dyla and Derek Williams. So thanks again for yet another Monday. Y'all are fantastic. Thanks to Bart for dropping by. And obviously, Abe spending time with family. Hopefully, Abe will be back with us next week. Family first, as we always say here on the show. Thanks for being a part of our family here at SDH. Since it is the end of the show, mucho platiel, play it safe, and that means that I get to do this. Once again, back at it in less than 22. Welcome back to another week. Stay dry, stay warm. Back at it.